And we are live. Hi, everybody. This is Keep It Going, and you are here to see how to start a work anywhere freelance or consulting business. Usually takes a couple minutes for everybody to get online. So if you can hear me, will you please type in yes in the chat bar on the right side of your screen? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. I've had some issues with webinars in the past, so I will try to keep my eye on that as I can, make sure that my sound doesn't just suddenly cut out as it did a couple weeks ago. While we are giving people a couple of seconds to get online, can you also type in and let me know where you are calling in from? I am currently in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I'm here doing a house sit, actually out, I think it's called Da Hang, maybe. It's a suburb of Chiang Mai, so I'm actually kind of out in the middle of the jungle, taking care of a couple of dogs. Just curious where you guys are. It looks like, okay, so Carrie is calling in from Toronto. Nice to see you. Greg is in Yuma. Peter in Sydney, Aaliyah in Philadelphia. All right. Oh, Martine, you're in Barcelona. Barcelona is one of my favorite cities. I went there for the first time this summer and just absolutely fell in love. So it looks like we've got people all around the world, mostly in the US and Europe, but I am glad to have you all here. What has brought you here? What made you sign up? I mean, I know you want to work anywhere, but are you working as a freelancer now or not? Christina wants to run her own business so she can travel. And Marcia, oh, you joined remote. Yeah, good for you. You'll figure it out. Everybody does. Okay. So it looks like it's a mix. We've got a few people still stuck in their day job. We've got a few people freelancing. The right. So it looks like the people that are going to join us now. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the presentation. 1 second. All right. So here we go. This is how to start a work anywhere freelance or consulting business with me, Keep It Going. This is me. I'm a six-figure freelancer and award-winning consultant turned life and business coach for new entrepreneurs. I also happen to be a digital nomad and a taco enthusiast. That's me in the top right corner eating what appears to be the world's largest bowl of soup in Malaysia. Before we get into this, I just want to tell you that you're going to have a much better experience if you watch this on a laptop. If you are on your phone right now, I cannot be responsible for the experience that you have. The software that I'm using tends to be a little bit buggy anyway. It's even more so on a phone. Also, if you are on a laptop and you're having issues with speed, I highly recommend you close your other browser windows. Finally, I am going to move pretty quickly. We've got a lot of content to cover today. This is a value-based webinar. I am a freelancer, a creative person, and a business coach, not a salesperson. I will share with you some opportunities to work with me at the end of the presentation, but we are just really going to cover a lot of content today. So in the next 30 to 60 minutes, we're going to cover the 5 critical components that you need to build a profitable work anywhere freelance or consulting business. We're going to talk about some of the common mistakes that I see new freelancers make, the importance of picking a niche and how to attract high-end clients, and then I'm going to go over the secret weapon of all six-figure consultants. So my promise to you is that if you pay attention today and you stay for the entire duration of the presentation, you're gonna have the framework for building a six-figure business. I obviously cannot guarantee your results because your results are gonna vary with your effort, but you're gonna have the tools, you're gonna have the step-by-step framework in order to build a business that is gonna allow you to travel the way that I do. And stick around, as I said at the end, I am going to talk a little bit about the programs that I have coming up that might be relevant to you, but I'm not going to push you to, I'm one of those people, I hate those webinars where you sign up to learn something and then they like give you 2 minutes of value and pitch at you for 45 minutes. I am not one of those people. This is a value-based webinar. I will talk briefly about the programs that I have, and then at the end, we'll do a live Q&A. So you can ask questions and I will answer them to the best of my ability during the duration. And we'll go about an hour. Sometimes we'll go a little bit longer depending on the number of questions. It really just depends on you. Okay, so who is this webinar for? Let's make sure you're in the right place. If you are constantly dreaming of quitting your job and starting a business, but you're not sure where to start or you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have tried freelancing in the past, as I did, and ended up feeling like a failure who is doomed to a long life in the cubicle, if you have a side hustle that you've been working on for ages, but you keep losing steam, and so you stay stuck on your cube, if you, like me, have tried freelancing multiple times and ended up going back to a job and you just feel like you do not fit in the corporate world, no matter how amazing your job looks on paper, you feel like you're just wasting your life away and you know that you were ultimately meant for more. But you're questioning your ability to run your own business. If a cubicle or a corner office feels more like a prison to you, then you're in the right place. If you're burnt out, you're starting to hate your colleagues and resent your clients, if you don't have a personal life outside of Netflix, and you can't remember the last time you woke up refreshed, if you feel like every day is exactly the same and you're never getting ahead, you are in the right place. Okay. For me, I, for years, struggled in a corporate job and would get energized and lose steam. And so if you're there or you've tried freelancing repeatedly and, either not been able to earn enough money to pay your rent, or you can say pay your bills, but you end up working, 40, 60 hours a week and you're just exhausted. I actually once had to take a corporate job just because I couldn't work for myself anymore. I was so tired that it felt like a vacation to take a traditional job again. Or if you're still just in the cubicle and you really want to work for yourself, but you just can't leave your benefits, or, there's always some reason that you can't leave and you just really feel stuck. And finally, if you've started a business, but you don't know what to do next in order to get to consistent 10K months, or how to take it online so that you can work remotely, that's what we're going to cover today. All of those things are really just symptoms of a problem. The problem is not that you aren't cutting out for freelancing or that you don't have the right skills. So I want to assure you of that right off the bat. I have a lot of people come to me and say, well, I can't cut it as a freelancer. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the dedication. And that's rarely what it is. What it usually is that you need the right system. It's not that you don't have the right experience or that you need another job or a better resume. It's not that you need another degree or another free course. Oh my God, they're everywhere. I have them. Don't get me wrong. I have a free course. It does add value, but people don't finish them. That's not what you need. You don't need another Facebook group full of starving freelancers. There are some good groups out there. I'm not disparaging all of them. But a lot of times we end up in these kind of groups where it's all people that are full of negativity and doing the same thing and then wondering why they're getting the same results. You don't need another article on how to start a business. You need a system. And once you implement the right system, you're going to start to attract better projects. You're going to be able to charge premium rates for your work and have a waiting list of clients. You're going to feel confident and energized in your business, and you're going to know what to work on next. And ultimately this is all going to lead you to the point where you can travel and work anywhere. So whether your dream is to do what I do, which is travel full time, or you just want the freedom to work from your pajamas a couple days a week, that can happen with the right system. So there are 5 things that you need to know in order to build a 6-figure consulting business without working hundreds of hours a week. None of these are secret. None of them are overly difficult. You're probably doing them in certain ways already, just not necessarily in the right way or the right order. So who am I to teach you this? As I said, I am Kate Bagoy. I am a business coach now, but the reason that I came up with this training is that I built my last consulting business to 6 figures in 6 months working part-time from my living room in Savannah, Georgia. My background, I have a bachelor's degree in graphic design and I have a master's in business. I've worked for more than 50 startups as a designer, a consultant, a founder, advisor, pretty much you name it, I have done it in some capacity. I left the US in January of 2017 to travel the world as a digital nomad with remote year, and I've pretty much been traveling since. I ultimately became a coach because I believe that life is just too short to exist. And, I think anybody can run a business with the right mindset or mentorship. And I feel really passionate about getting people out of their self-made prisons and the cubicle. Hate the cubicle. So I discovered the system because I tried freelancing 3 different times and I failed. I ultimately ended up spending more than $75,000 in programs and education, including my master's in business, and close to 10 years trying to figure out how to build a successful business. I've read hundreds of books, I've studied dozens of blogs and businesses for patterns, and I attend events, courses, and seminars from the best, including Tony Robbins and Mastin Kipp and Andy Harrington and Marie Forleo, all of these amazing people. And I have kind of cultivated all of these different tools and techniques into this system. So without any further ado, this is the 6-figure freelance formula. So number 1, you need to know your why and you need to visualize your success. So the right vision is going to keep you focused, committed, and clear in tough times. It acts as a North Star for decision making. So what do I mean by that? So when you don't have a vision, you're unsure of what you're working toward, which makes it really easy for you to become unmotivated during tough times. You end up just kind of hoping you're going to make money someday and taking on any project instead of strategically choosing projects. And that really leads to you wasting a ton of time on the wrong things or the wrong people, and you become a professional dabbler. Dabblers are not successful in business typically. So vision, what is vision? I've created this awesome little acronym, so fancy. Visualization is simply identifying your outcomes now. The idea is you can see your success, you can believe that it's going to happen, and then you can start implementing it. In software, actually in education, there's a terminology called backwards design. You see the outcomes that you want to create for your students, and then you backwards design them. What do we need to teach that student to get them? You want to do the same thing. You want to backwards design your business success. So see the success, know what it is you're after, and then you can figure out how to get there. Because it doesn't matter how detailed your map is and how talented or how hard you work. If you don't know what it is that you want, you're never going to actually reach your destination, right? So here's a funny little example. Does anybody know who the guy on the left is? Am I completely dating myself by using, yeah, that's Tom. That's Tom from MySpace. He was our first friend. A lot of you are probably too young to remember MySpace. It was the Facebook of the early 2000s. And Tom was the founder. And on the right, obviously, is Mark Zuckerberg, founder and CEO of Facebook. And I use these two guys as an example because they're an example of the difference in vision. So a lot of people, when they see Tom these days, would be like, oh, clearly MySpace was a failure. Tom probably didn't have a vision. But the truth is, Tom was highly, highly successful. As successful or more successful as Zuckerberg, simply because his vision was fulfilled. So both of these guys had visions, but they were very different visions. Tom, on the left, wanted to found a startup, wanted to found a technology company and build it to the point where he could sell it and walk away and never have to work. And he did that. He sold MySpace for, I think, 300 million or something like that, 500 million maybe, in 2000 something. And at the age of 30, he was able to retire and never has to work again. And that was his vision. So he was highly, highly successful. And the decisions that he made were different than Zuckerberg, because Zuckerberg's vision was to create a startup. And he didn't necessarily want to sell. He wanted to be a Silicon Valley CEO. He didn't even know what they were building. He just wanted to build something. He wanted to build something cool and something useful. And he's done that. And he is now worth, whoa, God, some $1 billion estimate for Facebook. It's unbelievable how much he's worth. So both of these guys have the same vision. Neither one of them ever has to work again if they don't want to. But the decisions that they make to get there are very different. If you are planning on selling your company, you're going to make very different decisions than if you're planning to run it for the rest of your life. Likewise, if you're a freelancer and you want to work for yourself and you want to work from home and that's it, that's all you ever want out of your business, you're going to make different decisions than if your long-term goal is to, retire at 40 as an internet marketer. You're going to make different decisions. So that is the importance of vision. Number 2 is you want to position yourself as the expert in what it is that you do. Okay, so if you're poorly positioned, you're positioning yourself as a generalist instead of a specialist. So, copywriter is a generalist. A copywriter for coaches is a specialist. If you're poorly positioned, you have a lack of credibility, you're likely lacking visibility, and you end up competing on price and therefore accepting low wages. And you'll act like an arrogant artist instead of a confident expert because that's what you're going to be treated as ultimately when you're poorly positioned. Positioning is important because companies really want to hire the best. And the reason that companies hire freelancers is because they often either need an expert or they can't bring somebody on board full time. They want to test the waters. And they need to be able to trust their consultants. They want to pay for that. Their good companies are willing to pay for quality knowledge and specialized expertise. And hiring managers have to delegate the work. So it's really important that you position yourself as an expert if you want to be a 6-figure freelancer. You need to be the expert and provide the absolute best solution to the problem that your client is facing. Period. End of story. That's good positioning. And customers will pay more for that expert service. And ultimately, you end up getting to lead sales conversations, which makes them a lot easier. You're not fighting with clients over, why your rates are what they are. Client is not going to question that because they know that you are the expert. More business also flows to trusted thought leaders. When you're well positioned, people respect you in your industry. You become the go-to guy or gal for whatever it is that you do. In my freelance career, the last iteration of it that I got right, I was the go-to gal for user experience in my field. I created a market for my services by being an expert. And this is an example of the difference in specialties. So we've got 2 different doctors here on the same platform. And one doctor has 5 stars and one has no ratings available. And so your first instinct is probably to go to Mark Miller, right? If these 2 came up in the same search, you would go to Mark Miller. But what if I said that you needed heart surgery? Would it matter so much that Mark F. Miller is the best rated? Or would it matter more to you that John C. Haney is a specialist who specializes in heart surgery? I don't know about you, but if somebody's going to cut open my chest, I want it to be somebody that's done it before. And I don't think Mark F. Miller, internal medicine doctor and primary care doctor, has spent a lot of time holding a human heart. He probably spends most of his time talking to children and giving them popsicles. Lollipops, I guess. So it's the importance of specialties. It becomes less important that you are highly rated. This is really important if you're younger or you're new to freelancing. It's not so much that you have all of the experience, it's that you have specialized experience. Makes sense? Number 3, the riches are in the niches. So the wrong market to target to yourself, or the wrong niche market is what we call that, is when you're selling yourself to everyone, to any industry, when you're competing with anyone that works in your field or anyone in New York City or wherever it is, where you're competing with any mass market. Because again, like we said before, it's difficult to stand out and you start to compete on price. When you're competing with everybody, there are literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of direct competitors at what you do. Copywriters, designers, event planners, there are a dime a dozen if you are competing with everybody in your field. You need to be specialized. You need to be talking to a very specific market and a very specific niche in terms of your expertise. When you do that, if you don't do that, rather, you end up wasting your time talking to clients that don't actually need what you offer or won't pay what you ask. Because when you're talking to everyone, you're ultimately serving no one. You're going to end up If you have ever tried freelancing before and you've found yourself constantly talking to clients that balk at your prices, this is likely why. You're probably selling yourself too broad. Because when you're in the right niche market, you have tons of qualified, interested buyers that actually value your expertise and can't wait to work with you. At any rate that you quote them, they're not going to balk at your fees because you are the expert and they want your service. This is really important, the niching down and the understanding who your target market is and what your niche is. Niches and expertise. Target market is who actually purchases your product. When you are properly positioned this way, your clients become a lot easier to reach because they're actually looking for you, right? There's fewer competition when you narrow the audience that you're competing in. And it's easier to differentiate yourself from the competition. Clients will actually line up to work with you if you've done a good job of positioning yourself. And it becomes really easy to quote unquote sell because you're speaking the language that your client speaks and they trust your expertise and they're going to listen when you make recommendations instead of trying to tell you to make the logo bigger. So this is an example of knowing your market and really speaking their language. So I ran a search, I think for websites for startups. And these are two sites that came up in my Google search, right? And on the left, we have the startup guys who make rockstar websites for startups, right? Very clear, very compelling. I instantly am ready to click and hire them because I know exactly what they do, who they do it for, and I know they're probably going to do a good job because it's instantly clear. On the other side, we've got digital design, product development, and the change your business needs. I don't even know what that means, first off, but then I dig deeper, and it's, well, we'll help you conceive, build, and steer digital products. Well, it is so vague and so boring. It's very clear to me that the company on the right is trying to go really broad. They don't want to narrow because they think by narrowing down to a specific market or a specific deliverable, a deliverable being the website, that they're going to lose business. And so they've kept it really vague. Like they do all of the digital things. And it's like, that means nothing to me and it doesn't make me want to work with them. So that's an example of the importance and clarity of knowing who your market is and what your niche is and really targeting them and being specific about what you do and who you do it for. And number 4, you want to build a personal brand or a brand if you want to go after a consultancy, but you need to build a brand. The wrong brand is one that is inconsistent, is unprofessional, it is impersonal, it is boring, as we saw in the last slide, unclear, or worse, unseen. I see a lot of that, surprisingly. So personal brands, and what I mean by a personal brand is like when you're a freelancer and you put up a website and it's your name, that's a personal brand, right? And you start promoting yourself as yourself. Those brands, when they suck, usually suck because of one of these reasons. Either the founder is completely unfocused and does all of the things. You're the digital design person that does everything. And it's very unclear what you actually specialize in and what sort of value you provide because you're stretched too thin. Or your online presence is unprofessional. If your Instagram feed is covered in cats and memes and really bad photos, you're not doing yourself any favors. If you're writing copy that is as compelling as a 1950s how-to manual, you're putting people to sleep, nobody's going to want to work with you. I'm sorry, you've got to have some personality. But at the same time, you want to be easy to understand. Don't sound like Gary Busey. Like, I see this a lot with freelancers is we're creative people. And so we have a hard time saying things like, speaking things in business terms. And if you want to be a successful 6-figure freelancer, you've got to stop acting like an artist and you've got to start speaking business language, okay? And finally, as I said, unseen. An unseen founder is someone that acts like they're in witness protection. You never share anything. You never promote anything. Like I had a gal that came up to me a few months ago and she's like, I built this amazing website and nobody's coming to visit. I'm not getting the client calls. And I asked her what she was doing to promote it. And she said nothing. Like if you're not sharing, nobody's going to ever visit your brand. If you're not creating value, if you're not promoting yourself, if you're not marketing yourself, people aren't going to magically come. That's not how it works, okay? You've got to be visible. So the right brand is going to attract the right clients and repel time-wasting wrong clients. And ultimately, it's going to sell you before you ever even have a conversation. So that's going to make your life so much easier because people want to buy from people or from trusted brands. And a good brand is going to attract those clients so that you don't have to chase them down. Like the idea of building a personal brand is that you don't have to spend all of your time filling out bids on sites like Upwork or Freelancer.com. You can actually have clients drawing into your brand. It's going to save you a lot of time because you can repeat strategies and promotions. Ultimately, a good brand is going to repel those time-wasting clients, that client that comes in and wants all of the bells and the whistles and they have a budget of $99. That is a time waster vampire that you don't want to work with. And you want to build up a brand that acts almost as a barrier to entry, a red velvet rope, if you will, outside of the nightclub that is your business. You want to get those people out of there so that they don't waste your time. Ultimately, a good brand is going to create opportunities for you to collaborate with other people in your industry. And brands can also allow you to pivot, grow, and expand later on down the road. I'll give you a quick example of that before we move on. I have a friend of mine who started out as a graphic designer in Los Angeles and became burnt out with design. She just didn't want to do it anymore and she's having a really hard time. But she had done such an amazing job of building up a personal brand that people just adored her and loved working with her. And she had worked with a very specific small business audience. And so when she decided to pivot into photography, she was almost able to pick up overnight where she left off because she was working with the same type of client. Even though she was offering a different service, she was able to still get business from those clients. So that's the importance and the power of a brand and really bringing some personality in. And this is another great example here. I did a search for copywriters and these two came up. And design aside, the one on the right is a little garish, but from a personality standpoint and clarity standpoint, these two are real to par. On the left, we've got Bob Smith. Let's chat. He's a UX writer and copywriter. And then he's got, some really kind of boring copy. Like, I'm a London-based copywriter. I work with companies. Whereas Laura Belgray has copy so brilliant, you can use it as a lamp. And then she has this call to action to get the 5 secrets of non-sucky copy. And pro tip here, she's got an arrow in the middle that points down to a testimonial from a really high-powered brand, Marie Forleo, who is a top business coach. And it elevates her professional skills and her credibility by showing that testimonial and showing that higher power brand. So most people, when faced with these two, are going to go with the right-hand side, right? Because it is just very clear what she offers. It's just really clear and compelling copy, non-sucky copy. Whereas Bob Smith, whose name I have changed to protect the innocent, is a little bit on the boring side. And then this is another example, two different Instagram profile, and on the left-hand side, we've got, username over here whose account is private. So guys, if you are on Instagram and you want to use it for business, do not keep your profile private. Don't make anybody request to follow you, and if you are doing that, I would probably change your name because frankly, when I see that, if somebody says that they're a freelancer and then I see they have a private profile, I think that you're probably posting inappropriate stuff and it's unprofessional. But I digress. The point is over here, it doesn't matter how amazing you are at your business if you don't have information for me to see, if you don't have, photos for me to see, if you don't have a link to get more information about you, I'm going to lose interest really quickly and bounce. So on the right is a completely random person that I picked off Instagram. I think I just clicked through a couple of hashtags and found this gal. I have no affiliation with her. But what she's doing well here as an example for you is that she's got a consistent style and it looks professional, right? But it's also personal. I can see her face and I put a face to her name. She looks like she's nice. Like she's somebody that I would allow to take my photo. Right, and then she's got some really fun personality in there, like with the sloth cup. That may be the primary reason that I picked her profile. I absolutely love sloths. And I love that she had that coffee mug in there. It's so funny. But she's also got some great things in her header, that tells a little more information, gets me involved with her. As I said earlier in the presentation, people work with people. We connect with people. And so your personality counts, particularly in the freelance industry. You want to show some of that personality, and you also want to make sure that there is a link to more information about you or your business. And the fifth piece of the six-figure freelance formula is to learn how to master your mindset. And this is really, really critical. So there are a bunch of fatal mindsets that I see in freelancers and in clients that I've worked with in the past. We've got things like the starving artist who doesn't want to sell out. We have a problem with selling. We don't think that our work is valuable. We don't think we're good enough to make money. Or if you think money is dirty, or that wanting more of it makes you dirty, playing the martyr, that is going to keep you from success. You've got the victim who takes everything personally. I think everybody's probably worked with that person who, you're in a meeting and you make some small suggestion for improvement, and this person takes it as if you have stabbed him or her in the back. That type of freelancer, when we do that, you're not going to make it in business. So you've got to adapt mindsets that really help you grow. You can't treat your business like a hobby, and you can't treat it like an extended job search if you want to be successful, if you want to have six-figure success. When your mind is in the wrong place, what happens is that we come up with all of these things to hold ourselves back. We learn how to creatively procrastinate. Like, you would be amazed at how much time I can spend organizing my to-do list, right? We become really overwhelmed, or we get stuck in these perfectionism traps or overthinking traps. Paralysis by analysis is one that I get from a lot of people. A lot of my clients suffer from this. As creative people, we can do a lot of things, and we have a lot of ideas. We're idea people, right? And we end up getting so overwhelmed with them that we never actually execute. We don't focus on anything, so we never actually finish anything. And that is one of the main reasons why freelancers struggle to get ahead. That, and just not thinking like a business owner. We treat our business like hobbies. We treat our business like it's an extended job search. And then we don't have the success that we want, and we end up giving up when we hit a challenge. And ultimately, your mindset is always going to win. You can be the absolute best at what you do and still not get paid if your mindset is in the wrong place. And on the flip side of that, you don't have to be the best in order to make good money. And I am a great example of that. As a user experience designer, I am not the best. Sorry, I got to fix the chair here. I was not the best designer. I never was. I was good, and I had some unique skills, but I was definitely not the best. There are more talented people, and there are always going to be more talented people out there. But I probably made more money than a lot of them because I had the right mindset, and I knew how to treat my business like a business instead of a job search. And, you can't tell whether somebody's going to be successful or not by looking at them. There's no way to tell whether somebody has the right mindset or the wrong mindset. But I will tell you that, if freelancer A on the left doesn't think that she really can earn six figures from her business, she's going to be right. And if freelancer B thinks that, running his own business is the most important thing in the world to him, and he's willing to schedule 5 minutes a day to work on his business, he's going to be in a better position than another freelancer who, works full time and then works on their side hustle only when they feel up to it. I hear that one a lot. We work on our business when we feel like it, and then we wonder why we don't have a lot of success. It's because we have to be consistent. We need to be consistently working on our business. And those are examples of mindset and the habits that we can build as freelancers, as creative people, that will allow us to be more successful in business. So to recap, the six-figure freelance formula is visualize your success, position yourself as an expert, narrow your niche, brand yourself, not your business, and learn to master your mindset. There are two paths forward into a six-figure freelance business. You can do what I did for a long time, which is figure it out alone. Read every self-help or business book or blog that you can find and try all of these different approaches to see what works and waste a ton of time and money. Or you can get help from a mentor who's done what you want to do and can guide you to the results you want faster than you could get on your own. That's how it is. It's two paths forward. And coaching, as I mentioned at the beginning, there's a secret weapon. That is the secret weapon, is find a coach, somebody that can give you the guidance and support, knowledge and accountability that you need to get where you want to go. You can teach yourself to fly by reading a book. There's a book called Teach Yourself to Fly by Nigel Tang. And I bet you can read it, and it's going to tell you all of the knobs and the whistles and what to do and at what altitude you need to push the button. But are you going to read that book and then hop into the cockpit? What if your family was in the back? It's generally not a good idea. So I urge you to get help growing your business, and don't do everything alone the way that I did. You absolutely can. You absolutely can do everything alone. You can get so much free information on the web these days. It's overwhelming, the amount of information, which is part of the problem. But so I urge you to narrow that down. Decide who you're going to listen to, whether it's me or somebody else, but get the help that you need to start your business. So if you'd like my particular help, this is the beginning of our sales pitch, but we're going to be coming back to questions, so don't leave the webinar. If you'd like my help, I have 3 different options for you today. So option 1, you can join my group program. So Six Figure Freelancers is an online course with or without optional group coaching sessions. I'm going to just put this up on the right-hand side. There should be a link for you right now. It's optional group coaching sessions. We're going to have some awesome guest speakers, which are primarily freelancers who are working, I know from traveling around the world, they're working as digital nomads or location-independent entrepreneurs. I also have a life coach that's going to come in and give you some tips, and I have a mindset specialist that's going to teach a meditation on money mindset, so you know where you are with that. You get a private Facebook group with me in it and only six-figure freelancers or people in the six-figure freelancer program. And it includes 10 core modules and bonus modules. So these are the core modules. I'm not going to go through all of them because you can visit sixfigurefreelancers.com and you can dig in there and get that. But basically, we're going to walk you through step by step the most important pieces of building a six-figure freelance business. This is all stuff that I have done on my own, as well as stuff that I have guided my clients through. So those are the core modules. As I said, there's a bunch of bonus modules. Like we're going to talk a little bit about email marketing and growing your business with passive income, so you can start to earn with your mind and not with your time. We'll touch on Facebook ads, a little bit of finance and legal stuff. Like I said, the money mindset. And you'll also get my Six-Figure Freelancers book to keep with you. So if that sounds like something that's good to you, enrollment is open right now at sixfigurefreelancers.com. The next program starts in January, and we will see you online. Option 2, if you're on a super limited budget, you can pre-order my book, which will come out this spring as well. It's Secrets of a Six-Figure Freelancer. I'm going to teach you the same stuff that I teach in the course in a highly condensed formula. So if you love to read, if you're really self-directed and you don't need a lot of help, the book is going to give you the same process that I use in my group, my one-on-one programs. It's just going to be in a digital ebook formula, and it's dirt cheap. Currently on pre-order for $29. And finally, option 3, this is not for everyone. This is only if you are absolutely 100% committed to starting or growing your business and are willing to invest in yourself. If you are, I will set aside 40 minutes to talk to you personally about how to implement this system, okay? I'm doing this because I'm on a mission to liberate people from the cubicle, and I want to help you live life by design and not default. I've been where you are. I really do. I know how much it sucks, and I know how hard it is to be stuck in a job that you hate. And it's part of my story. If you've been to katecoy.com, you've read about me. And that's why. And at the end of the call, if it's a good fit and you want my help, I will invite you to become one of my one-on-one private coaching clients. Okay. But I only work with 5 clients at a time. So you need to be committed to growing your business to 100K this year and to quitting your job within the next 6 months. All right. You've got to be serious about doing it the right way. You need to be coachable, and you've got to be willing to invest, because my one-on-one programs start at $4,000. So I know that that's a lot of money for a lot of people. For me, for a long time, that would have been a lot. And that's why I created the 6-figure Freelancers program, is because I could not, when I was first starting out, I couldn't have afforded private coaching. But if you are at that point where you really want one-on-one help, I would love to talk to you. You get access to the 6-figure Freelancers course in the community, plus you get weekly accountability calls with me. You get a customized coaching program. You get private guidance, support, accountability, encouragement, etc. And you end up going into each week knowing exactly what you want to work on next. Okay, so if that sounds good, if you want to have the feeling and the confidence that you can grow your business, if you want the clarity of mind and the goals, uncover the freedom and lifestyle that you desire, and somebody to hold you accountable to doing the things that you don't feel comfortable doing. If you need somebody that is going to be constantly encouraging you to work on your business and to dream bigger than you expected, this is a great opportunity for you. You can go to sixfigurefreelancers.com/apply and apply for a call with me. And as I said, I only work with 5 one-on-one clients at a time. So it is very limited. It is very selective. But if you're absolutely committed to starting your business, I highly recommend it. Coaching has been a huge thing for me, and I cannot rave about the importance of it in my life. So, end of presentation here. You always have a choice. Everything you do, you have a choice. You can choose to stay stuck, and you can keep doing the same things over and over again, or you can choose to get help and take action. Your life changes the minute you make a decision, no matter what you do. So no matter what you do or take away from today's presentation, I hope that you make a decision to either move forward with your business and get the help that you need, or to accept your lot in life and learn to love your current job or find a new one. Not everybody is meant to be a business owner. Running a business is hard. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. So I never lie to anybody about that. I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be easy. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get rich tomorrow running a freelance business. It's not reality. I will tell you from my experience that running a business is incredibly rewarding. I love making my own hours. I love the fact that I can work wherever I want, with clients that I love. So if those things work for you, make a commitment to building your business and take the steps that you need. I'd love to help you. So I'm going to stop the presentation and open it up for questions. Actually, I'm going to have a sip of water first. I'll take a quick 30-second bio break if anybody needs to run to the restroom, and then I'll take questions for the next 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what we got. Maybe I'll just turn that video off. All right, thank you for that. Thanks for the patience. I hope you've gotten a lot of value so far. I'm starting to scroll through the comments right now. And I see that Yolise has asked, can I go straight to being a consultant without having a lot of commercial experience? Yes. Yeah, you can. It's good to have some experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be commercial experience or freelance experience, but you need to be able to show value. And if you have skills or expertise in an area and you feel confident that you can provide value for a client, there's absolutely no reason that you can't be successful. Like the number one thing, I guess, I tell people is like, you don't have to be the best at what you do. You just need to be able to provide the solution that your client needs better than the immediate competition, right? So if you don't have a lot of experience, it might be a little bit harder. So you may end up early on, taking on some clients for the experience, more for the money. And maybe they're not going to be the perfect client for you, but it's going to allow you to learn and grow, and that's part of the experience. But yes, you absolutely can. There's nothing that says that you have to spend a decade in a corporate job in order to be a successful freelancer. It looks like Ashley's question was pretty same. I have 0 consulting experience, and I'm not sure where to start. In terms of where to start with my course. Obviously. Yeah. The course is designed to help you, and that would be a really great start for you. But where you need to start really is to figure out who your audience is and what your specialty is. So I don't know what your background is. For me, when I first started consulting or freelancing rather in 2008, I built myself as a graphic designer. And I was all over the map. Like I did logos, I did website designs, I did brochures, I did apparel designs. Anything, you name it. Infographics, although I don't think we called them infographics back then. It was just illustrations or something. Anyway, I was all over the map, and I worked with any type of client that would work with me. And it was a much different experience when I freelanced the last time. Then I said, I'm going to work specifically with startups who have X budget and, X needs. Like I really went down and figured out exactly who I wanted to work with. Startups in a certain industry, which was like education and early stage technology, but they needed to be well funded enough that they, could afford my services and actually value design. Like design was really important for the experience and the products that we were designing. And so my experience was much different when I knew exactly who my client was and what they needed versus when I didn't know who my client was and I was just selling my skills, my collateral pieces. Much, much different experience. Tony asks, how do you decide what look and feel to use for your brand? That's a harder one to answer because it's a little bit subjective, and it depends a lot on your client and your expertise, right? So if you're a designer, your brand should reflect some of your design personality and your skills, right? But if you're not a designer, if you're a copywriter, and it's much more open, it should be something that you like, but also that speaks to your target market. So like if, let's say you're a copywriter and you work with women coaches, right? If that's your target market, your look and feel is probably going to be different than somebody that works with banks. Does that make sense? So like a bank, they're looking for stability and security and, professionalism. And so your brands might be, in my opinion, a little bit boring, a little bit safe. Whereas if you're working with maybe startups, maybe your brand is a little more edgy, a little more vibrant. So it's really subjective, and that's not something that I can answer in super detail today. Sorry. Amanda asked, what advice do you have for finding your niche? I have a workbook. We'll be doing some of it in the course, but if you're not ready to do the course, I also have a free course. You frankly could use an update, but it's at katebegoy.com/escape-your-day-job. It's a free course, and there's some work in there around figuring out who your target audience is. But the short answer for that, just for purposes for everybody that's still here today, you want to think about who you want to work with, like the type of actual people you want to interact with, like what's the personality of the team that you're going to work with, like the hiring manager that you want to work with. That's one thing you want to think about. Like with my one-on-one coaching business, I typically work with people that I would love to have brunch with, right? I have enough business experience that I can work with people in a lot of different industries and a lot of different areas. Like I could go after VP level corporate people and it would be a very profitable business. But I tend to not relate super well. I'm a little non-traditional, covered in tattoos, I swear, and I'm trying to fix that, particularly when I'm doing webinars because I don't know who's watching, but it's just not who I want to hang out with. Right. And so I've built my business really around a client that I want to hang out with and I want to go out to brunch with. And it's been incredible. So think a little bit about who you want to work with and then, where that overlaps. If you've got the Venn diagram of who you work with, right? Who's in the middle of who you want to work with and who you have experience working with or who you can provide value for the best. That's where you start. Jennifer says, where do I start if I'm not an expert in anything yet? I want to do freelance editing, but I've only had one editing job and it's not necessarily the niche I want to be in. So if you're not an expert in anything yet, you probably want to spend a little more time taking on smaller projects before you go in full force on your business. So because you want to build up a certain level of credibility. Now, sometimes you can transform your expertise in different areas into your business. So like, if you have done any editing in your day job, whatever that is, that's not exclusively with the niche that you've worked with, it doesn't matter. You've got the experience, right? And so you can kind of learn to transform that and position yourself through the combination of skills and experience that you have versus a specific thing. But if you're really early on and you've not had the experience, you've got to get some experience because you do need to be able to A, speak the language, and B, you need to show results and you need to feel confident that you can actually get the results. And I see a lot of people go into business because they've done something good once and they think they can replicate it, and that's not always the truth. So we get the experience. It's a great place. The value that you can find in those marketplaces that, I talk a little smack about it during my webinar with like Upwork and Freelancers.com or 99 Designs, all of those. Those aren't great, in my experience, not great places to build a long-term business strategy. But if you're new and you're starting out, they're great places where you can get experience. Now, you're probably going to work for less money than you want to, but you're going to do it for the experience and you're going to do it to build your portfolio and be able to show that you've gotten the results. So get a little bit of experience, enough that you start to build that confidence. You start to see patterns and know that you can do this. In terms of the niche, maybe you can volunteer doing some of that work for somebody in the niche. That's brought me a lot of business over the years as well. Nadia says, how do I know what to specialize in? That's a little bit harder. So again, I don't know what your area is, what your background is. Maybe you're a copywriter, maybe you're a designer, maybe you're a developer. The specialty should be something that comes kind of natural to you. So I had a coach, Maston Kip, actually, that he talks about when you're finding your purpose, he talks about the difference between like your skills versus your gifts, right? Your skills are things that you've learned to do really well. And you're really good at, and your gifts are the things that you do well that you also really enjoy. So like for me, I know that design is a gift because it's something that I'm good at, but I can also just lose hours, right? Like I can sit and I can draw and design and spend hours and like literally look up and go, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten today. That's usually a sign of that it's something that you really love to do and you're really good at. So that's often a thing to do. So like, let's say for an example, if you're a designer and, you can do logos and you can do websites and you can do brochures, but what you're passionate about, what you love to do most are logos, then do that. Do what you love is almost always going to be a better answer than any other. And it's not one of those, if you do what you love, you're always going to be rewarded sort of woo-woo things. It's that when you're passionate about it, you're not going to lose steam. You're going to keep wanting to do it, and you're going to become better and better at it. And you're going to become more and more skilled at it. And you're going to become, as I said in the presentation, the go-to guy or gal for logos. So when in doubt, do what you love. Kathy asks, do you think Facebook is the best place to connect? Should I have a Facebook page or group or both? Totally depends on your business. I personally don't like Facebook. I'm doing a Facebook group for my course specifically because I found that it is really valuable to have that supportive community that's going through the same program. But I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook personally. I connect to a lot of people in Facebook groups, and it is a great way to reach people, and Facebook ads are really powerful. But from a social media standpoint, I just personally don't love to spend a lot of time there, so I don't. I don't spend a lot of time on my page, and I don't run a public-facing Facebook group because I found that it's just a ton of work, right? But that may be different for you. If you love Facebook groups and you want to spend all your time managing a Facebook group and it makes sense for your client, then it's a great place. What I typically recommend from a social media standpoint when you're starting out is to pick 1 or 2 platforms that you enjoy and where your clients are hanging out. And pick 1 or 2 and then go all in, and don't worry so much about the rest. You can have a presence on there. It's good to have a profile, maybe throw some posts, but don't spend all your time trying to be everything to everyone and trying to be on every single platform. Pick the ones that make the most sense for you and your business. And if you enjoy it, you're going to spend more time on there. So for me and my business, I spend 90% of the stuff that I do on social media is on Instagram. About 5% is on Pinterest and Facebook, and then 5% on everything else. John says, I have a hard time to market myself in design and marketing, etc. I know what I am doing and I have some skills in design, but there are literally millions of people who do it better. So confidence is the major problem. So hopefully this webinar kind of addressed some of that. You don't have to be the best at what you do. You need to be the best solution for the specific client that you do it for. And if confidence is an issue, so there's 2 things. One, you're going to get better with experience. So you need more experience so that you can get better and feel more comfortable. 2, you can pick a client that maybe has lower standards. And I don't mean that to sound condescending, but like, for instance, if you're a copywriter and you're not feeling super confident about what you do, you might feel more confident writing the copy for a small business on the corner who's probably doing it themselves right now, and you can do better than they are, versus writing copy for, say, the next Coca-Cola campaign. Right, so if you need some experience to build your confidence level, then think about clients that really need your services, and either make an effort to work with them, even if it means taking a pay cut temporarily, or volunteering your service for people that need your service, and build up that experience. Like, that was one of the things that I did years ago. I started volunteering a lot. One, it brought me more business in the long term because people would refer me based on when I met them doing volunteering, but it also helped me to build that credibility. Like, when a lot of nonprofits really need help, right? And if you can do something and they're super gratitude, and you realize how valuable your services really are, because maybe right now your confidence is low because you're working with a client that has super high expectations, and so working with somebody else that has different expectations, that would probably help. And lastly, that's what I do as a coach. So I work with a lot of clients that need that helping, and so coaching can work for you. So if you're interested in working with me, you can go to sixfigurefreelancers.com/apply. If you're not, look up a life coach in your area. or a business coach in your area that can maybe help you work through some of that confidence stuff. Because confidence is critical to your business. You know, when you go into negotiations with a client or a sales pitch with a client, whoever has the most confidence wins. And if you're not confident in your skills, they're not going to be confident in their skills and your skills, and they're not going to hire you. So if anybody else on here is struggling with self-esteem, I certainly did. You're not alone. But it is going to affect your business. So you've got to nip that in the bud, so to speak. So let's see. Maria says, I have a graphic design business that I've never made more than $75,000. What should I do first to grow my business? It depends a little bit on the part of your business where you're struggling. So when it comes to marketing and growing a business, there's really only a handful of areas of your business where the problem is. So you either don't have enough leads, that is, you don't have enough people coming into your website that are asking you for a consultation, or people visiting your social media site and interacting with you or whatever. You're not going out and meeting enough people. You don't have enough people coming in. That's the first stage of your business. The second piece is you're not converting enough leads into paid clients. So maybe you're getting a lot of people that request a consultation with you, but then you're not actually working with any of them. That's the sales piece. So there's marketing, there's sales, and then you have operations. That's where the meat of your business happens, right? So if you are getting plenty of leads and you're converting them into clients, and you're pretty busy, you probably, if you're having problems in operations, then either you're not working efficiently, you don't have any systems, so you're doing manual processes over and over again and repeating the same type of work over and over again that could be simplified. It's going to ultimately lead to more profit because you can work with more clients if you streamline your business, right? So if you're capped out on time, then you have an operations issue. And if all three of those are going pretty well, but you're still not getting the financial results, one, I'd be pretty surprised. But two, either your rates are really, really low, or you're just working on the wrong things. So I'd need a little more information on that. But that's typically, it's either you need to do a better job of marketing, which means bringing in more leads, learning how to capture them so that you can then have conversations. And then when you have the conversations, you need to learn how to sell so that you can convert them from a lead to a client. And once they're a client, you need to optimize your systems and your workflow so that you can work with more and more clients and reduce the amount of hours that you work. And then the last option, which is usually not a problem, it is a way to elevate your business, is you can start adding passive income opportunities. So that's something we'll talk about in my course if you join us there. You know, things like online courses or ebooks, digital downloads, things that you can build once and then resell over and over again that create passive income. And those are what really help you grow a very stable business and will help with long-term success and support. Peter says, I've been stuck getting a website together for ages. I can't figure out how to get it right. So I fix it. God, yes. Like the thing is, if you don't put it out there, you don't know. So you don't know if it's right or not. You're just holding yourself back, and it's fear. So either push the button or hire someone to do it, because you're going to stay stuck if you just keep repeating this. Yes, absolutely. Do something different if you want different results. David says, do you think I should have one of those pop-up things on my website? Again, it depends on what you do, who you do it for, and the reason behind it. So I use pop-ups. You probably are here because you either came in through a blog post and saw a pop-up. You may have come in from Facebook as well, Facebook ads. But otherwise it was a pop-up. I don't love them. Like, I'm a user experience designer. I hate the pop-up. It's annoying, but they are effective. So if you want to build a long-term business and part of that is building an email marketing list, they can be really effective. I would say be careful. Sorry, I think I have an ant on my foot. I would say be careful in how you use them because they can be really obnoxious and they can turn people off. so be cautious with that and follow best practices. But like anything else, it really depends on your specific business, and it's a little more than I can cover today because we're already at an hour and 5 minutes. So I'm gonna do just a couple more. We'll go to an hour and 10 minutes flat. And then I got a wrap up here. It's starting to get dark. I'm gonna be ready for dinner. Anna says, you seem to know a lot about marketing. What if I don't? I'm worried I won't be able to make money. Well, that's the reason that I created the course. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to sell. Yes, I would love it if you joined the program. But that's why I created the course. So I know that, when I did undergrad, I studied graphic design in the undergrad school, and we didn't cover business at all. I never took a single business course. And so in hindsight, it's not all that surprising that when I started a freelance business, I sucked at it because I had no idea how to run a business. Just because you're a good employee and you've got great experience on your resume, like my first job out of college was with Nike. It was a really amazing experience. It doesn't mean you know how to run a business, right? I didn't have the mindset. I didn't even have basic business understanding or marketing understanding. I ended up going and getting a master's in business, an MBA in marketing. And that's probably where a lot of this knowledge came from, that and learning from smarter people. And so you've got two options. You can teach yourself business, or you can find somebody to teach you business. But you absolutely should learn it. You don't have to be an expert in marketing, but you need to know the basics, and you need to have the mindset of a business owner. And a business owner understands business and they understand marketing. So it's absolutely critical for you. If you don't want to join a program with me, free or unfree, there's a lot of other tools out there. If you like online courses, I've taken a bunch through Udemy. There's lots of good ones. Creative Live is another one. Actually, if you go to katebegoy.com/tools, I have a list of some of the courses that I've taken, and you can check those out and take some stuff. There's a book called The 7-Day MBA. I don't remember who wrote it, but I read that one a long time ago, and it was a really good introduction to business. It's a little boring. You can skip through stuff that bores you, but it will give you a better understanding if you feel maybe like a duck out of water and don't have a lot of business acumen. So yeah, you should definitely learn. That's the bottom line for that. And I think, one last one, Stephen. I've never worked with a coach. How would I know if coaching will work for me? Well, coach, in my opinion, is really just another word for teacher, right? So if you're joining the group coaching program, basically I'm going to teach you through a number of methods. And then coaching is actually really just kind of designed to help you get from where you want to be to where you want to, or where you are to where you want to be. That's what a coach does, right? We have tools and techniques or experience that you don't. And we can teach you to that and help you get over your own stuff. And one of the reasons that's so effective, like, have you ever had a problem and you go over and over and over and over and over on it in your head, and then you talk to somebody else about it for like 2 minutes and they're like, why don't you just do this? And it's like the most simple, dead simple thing they've ever said in their life, but you're like, why didn't I think of that? That's a lot of what coaching does. We as humans, we tend to get stuck in patterns. We get stuck in ruts and we repeat the same thing. It's learned behavior. There's nothing wrong with you. If you are a procrastinator, I'm still a procrastinator. I'm a business coach and I can teach you all sorts of techniques for not procrastinating. I will still do it. I still do it myself. I am so good at it, like just really good. And I've gotten really, really creative at procrastinating. Like I don't procrastinate anymore by I don't play Candy Crush anymore. I'm rarely on social media. I watch very limited television, but I'll spend 4 hours reorganizing my to-do list. It's so unnecessary, complete waste of time. And it's what one of my coaches calls survival patterns. patterns, right? We have these patterns that we fall into and these things that we do to avoid the fear, because we are, as humans, like we're hardwired to protect ourselves. Like we're all here. Everybody that's on this webinar, everybody that's on this planet is still alive because our ancestors had this amazing fight or flight response, right? We have this finely toned fight or flight response. And our bodies haven't caught up to the fact that like we live in the 21st century and we still have a fight or flight response at things like launching a website. You know, we have the same reaction to putting ourselves out there with like launching a new business that we do if we were standing in front of a bus. And it's a survival mechanism. And so our body comes up with all these crazy ways, our mind, that's the mindset piece that I talked about, of protecting ourselves from this fear, because we have the same fear response to silly things like criticism that we do, you know, really dangerous things like jumping off a cliff. Really, it's just, I don't even remember the question. I love that story. I have a friend that's a psychologist. And we had some really good conversations about that. It's another book you might want to check out called Buddha Brain, I believe it is. And it talks a little bit about, you know, the fight or flight response and how that affects us. So, the whole question was, how do I know coaching will work for you? Are you teachable? Are you willing to take feedback? Are you willing to learn? It'll work for you. I've never met anybody that coaching doesn't work for you, unless you're just a pure skeptic and you know, not willing to do the work. If you're working hard and you're willing for input, coaching works. But anyway, we are over time. It's been 1 hour and 10 minutes. There's not too many of you left, but thank you for sticking around. I hope you got value. If you did, you know, I would love to see you in my course, obviously. But if you didn't and you would just like to help me out, you can visit me on Facebook, facebook.com/kbagoy, KBAGOY, and you can leave a review and let me know what you thought, or you can send me private feedback at kate@katebagoy.com. Let me know what you thought of the webinar. If you have other questions that you didn't get answered today, you can email this to me and I will do my best to respond. And I hope you know, crush it with your new business. Life is too short to stay stuck. I did it for years. I was miserable for years. And, you know, it all really changed the minute I made the decision. So no matter what you do or where you are in your life right now, make a decision. Decide what it is that's important to you. What is this you want? And then make a commitment to doing what it takes to get there. You don't have to know all of the answers. Everything is Googleable. Everything is figure-outable. You just need to be committed to actually doing what it takes. So make a decision, make a commitment, and go after it. I will see you on the road. Bye, guys.